Paulina, welcome to Finding the UN Mum. Can you just take a minute or two introducing yourself and tell us a little bit about your background?
Hi, so I'm Paulina. I'm an interior designer turned digital marketer slash social media manager. So I worked in the interior design industry for over a decade, and naturally I transitioned into social media management, content creation, and all of that, which is where I suppose the two intertwined and where my passion sort of laid. As much as I loved interior design, I found the content creation side of things a lot more exciting. So that's where I ended up. But I'm also a mum. So kind of juggling the two roles.
It is a juggle. Did you launch into your business pre or post becoming a mum?
So I went to university and I went straight into work and I worked for a very long time. And then when I fell pregnant, I actually took nearly 3 years off work to become a mum.
Mm.
I did a little bit of freelance work here and there, which which was a very, very difficult working around kids and having no sleep. And only recently have I gone back into sort of, well, 4 days a week, so pretty much full time work again, which has been a difficult transition. I'm not going to lie, it's not been an easy transition, but I'm sort of trying to navigate it and as well as I
Mm.
can.
And can you describe a little bit about your journey toward becoming a mum? Was it something that you'd been planning, or was it more of a surprise, or how did you arrive at motherhood?
So I always knew I wanted to be a mum. And after my partner and I got engaged, we were sort of saying, we kind of want to prioritize having a family over getting married as such. So I said to him, look, I want to be a mum before I'm 30. And yeah, we tried, and I got pregnant with my first child. And she arrived 3 months before I was turning 30. So I kind of felt like I was lucky in the sense that I didn't have issues becoming pregnant. However, my pregnancy was another story. So
Mm.
I had very bad sickness in my pregnancy to the
Mm.
point where I was hospitalized, on IV drips and all of that. So the actual pregnancy itself took a big toll on me. It was a very difficult time. I had to leave my job because I was unable to work, and I
Yeah.
was basically bedbound for nearly 9 months.
Wow, that definitely takes the shine off what people describe
Yeah,
supposed to be that lovely bonding experience with your, unborn child. It feels like you were mostly just nursing nauseousness and how you're going to
yeah.
manage all of the symptoms each day.
Yeah, I was very envious of my friends because I didn't see any of my friends prior to me being pregnant. They were all sort of, yes, there was, difficult times, you feel emotional, you feel tired, etc. But I did not expect to be in the position that I was.
Yeah, yeah, I can imagine. And so, what was some of the strategies that you used once becoming a mum that helped you get through the early stages of parenthood?
To be honest with you, I sort of went with the flow. At the time we were back in the UK, I had a lot of family support, which was lovely. So I had loads of people and friends around me to sort of help me. The good thing was, as soon as I gave birth, the nausea luckily went. But
Mm.
obviously, postpartum, there is other struggles that you have. You're in pain, you feel quite emotional. I know I did. I was very emotional for the first few months. You told me there was a puppy in the other room and I would cry. So yeah, I think I just took it day by day. Obviously, with your first one, I think it is a lot easier because they sleep, you can sleep, and you can rest and sort of recover. It was a big transition, obviously, sort of going from having all the time in the world to kind of you're taking care of a baby your whole time. There's no
Mm.
rest really.
What prompted you to move from the UK to Australia?
So it's always been a bit of a dream of mine to come out here. And when my partner got the opportunity of moving across here with his job, instantly I was like, you got to do it. We got to try. Worst case, we can move back. If you don't try, you don't know. So he applied. It was a very long process. It took nearly 2 years. And then on a one weekend, we randomly just booked a one-way ticket. And here we are.
Wow. And I imagine it must have been tough, certainly with regard to having support with the children. Have there been many occasions where you've thought to yourself, you know what, it's not worth it. It's better if we just go back home where we do have support?
I mean, I have had thoughts where I was like, I can't do this on my own. So my second one is a very difficult baby. She is nearly 18 months, well, 19, and she has not slept once through the night. since she was born. I was quite lucky with my first one because at 6 months she started sleeping through the night, and we were like,
Mm.
oh, amazing. So we were kind of almost expecting naively the same with my second one. Still to this day, she can wake up to 4 or 5 times a night, which can be draining. I remember when we first arrived, she was only 4 months. She was waking up every hour. So
Yeah.
my partner was doing his training. I was alone all the time, sort of trying to juggle two kids. And we came here with no furniture, nothing. So it was trying to start a new life, trying to make friends, which is difficult when you're a mum as well, because
Mm.
a lot of people came out here with either older kids or no kids. So they had all the time in the world to go and socialize. Whereas for me, as you know, to get outside with a baby and a toddler, there's so much to pack and so much to plan. So sometimes I'd be kind of like, well, do you know what? It's too much effort. I'm so exhausted. I just want to stay home. So yeah, those times I remember, and even now, sometimes, now that I work, when we have nights where I have an hour or 2 hours of sleep because my younger one is
Mm.
up all night, I'm kind of like, God, if only my mum was here, to help
Yeah.
me over the weekend or just to kind of give me a break. But the kids absolutely love it here. The lifestyle was amazing. So would I go back? Probably not, but I do miss. There are times where, I'll have a little cry to myself because I'm exhausted.
So, what have been some of the strategies that you've been able to use to get through this? Because basically, you're in Perth. It's a beautiful part of the
Yeah.
world, but some days you may have only had a few hours sleep and you've still got the long list of jobs to do. I know you're also still doing some work. What are some of the strategies to get through the day and stay a little bit sane?
I think coffee keeps me sane, definitely. My friends, I've been quite lucky that I've made a good little group of friends, which, I'm having a bad day. I'm like, I know I can always sort of text her and vent. But also, my husband's, when he can, he works a lot, so it's difficult. So I do feel like I'm alone a lot. But I think I kind of try and plan every day. I always try to mornings is sort of kid time, so I try and take them out, do a soft play, or just to keep them, burn off some energy. Then when we get back, my younger one normally goes for a nap, so that's like my sort of power hour to try and get the work done in terms of housework, etc. And
Mm.
then my little ritual is in the evenings, as soon as my husband gets home, I'm like, right, I'm going to have a bath. Like, that half an hour bath
Yeah.
is like just me. Although 90% of the time, my little one will find me. She knows how to open the door now, and she'll just sit there and watch me. And I'm like, just give me a break.
Just I know, just that even that
Yeah.
extra energy sometimes, as sweet as
Yeah.
it is, it's like you just want that little bit of time alone.
Yeah.
Does your husband work long hours? What sort of work does he do?
Yes. So he does a lot of shift work. So it can be quite isolating in that sense and difficult because when he's doing nights, obviously he's not here, so I'm home alone and I'm sort of juggling two kids. Sometimes when they both wake up, I'm like, where do I go?
Yes.
But you just have to try your best and hope for the best.
What's a mindset or a mantra that you tell yourself that helps you get through and stay grounded as a working mum?
I think that, you know, not everything has to be perfect all the time. And at the end of the day, my kids won't remember whether the house was always clean. And it is sort of cliche, but I am a bit of a clean freak. And, I'm trying to tell myself it's okay. Like, it doesn't have to be perfect all the time. Like, if I've become better at sort of like putting housework to one side and going, do you know what? Especially now that I'm working, I think, when I
Mm.
know that my kids only have me 3 days a week, sort of
Mm.
for the full day, I try and make sure that I spend the time with them because I know that they do miss me and I miss them.
Mm.
But it can be difficult because you want to do something for yourself, you want to go do a workout or you want to socialize, but then you also want to see your kids, and it's kind of like juggling that mum guilt.
What are your thoughts on the concept of mother guilt?
I'm gonna be honest, I used to feel it more. Now I'm kind of the way I've adapted to it is if I go out and have that hour to myself, I will come home and I'll be a better mum because I will have that space that I need.
Mm.
Because I think I used to want to do it all,
Mm.
and I felt like I did burn out because I remember one day just thinking, I can't do this. I sort of had a little cry. I was like, this is too much. Both
Mm.
of my kids hanging off me always saying no to sort of doing things for myself. And I've realized that I'm a lot happier and I'm a better mum if I do take some time off to myself. Then the next day, I am a happier, better mum for them.
So, I think that part of that mother guilt, it's a little bit of a rort because it encourages us to behave in certain ways that
Yeah,
ironically makes us not as good in terms of being a mum as we would if we actually took that time out and charged our batteries and reconnected with ourselves rather
yeah,
than push through and stay. It almost is that concept of some people tend towards quantity rather than quality in terms of the time with
yeah,
children. And I'm a huge fan of the quality piece. Just being around them incidentally is marvelous, and you get so much quality
mm,
conversations and observations. But in terms of engagement and connectedness, it is about having capacity, and that capacity can only occur if you do a little bit of self care in amongst it all.
yeah. I think we feel pressure because we see all these mums on social media trying to portray this perfect image, and then you can go out and your kids are behaving like absolutely ridiculous. They're throwing everything, and you think, well, no one else seems to get it, but they do. They just don't post on social media. And I think this is where it's important for people to be honest and real because no child is perfect. But I think it can be isolating and it can feel like that when you're sort of scrolling through social media and everyone's just posting how lovely it is to be a mum.
Mm.
Whereas being a mum is amazing, but there are times where it can be difficult and draining mentally and physically.
Can you describe a time when you did feel completely lost, just despairing as a mum, and maybe describe a little bit about how you found your way back?
Yeah, when we first arrived here, I was so sleep deprived for months. Waking up every hour is draining and both of my kids are quite demanding. They want a lot of attention. They're very energetic. So then sort of waking up in the morning and trying to juggle everything and keep them happy and I remember saying to my husband, like, just I feel so low, like I feel so lost. I don't know who I am anymore. And I think that's when I did begin to sort of socialize more. I went to the gym. It wasn't 4 times a week like I used to, but it was just that little, even 20 minutes here and there, just kind of made me feel a little bit more like myself again, rather than just feeling like I had to give myself to my kids all the time and I had to give them 100%. I think that's when mums burn out.
Absolutely, I could not agree more. So, on the line of those hours where you're just really struggling, can you share like a shocking truth about motherhood that no one prepared you for and
Yeah,
had a big impact on you?
that sometimes that there are going to be times where you your sort of miss your old life where kids weren't around. And I think for a very long time I struggled. And every time I had a thought like this, I just felt, oh my God, I'm a terrible mother. Why would that even cross my mind? But I think it's perfectly normal because for me personally, I used to love going to the gym. I used to love being active. And I liked sort of being toned. And some may say it was vain. With motherhood, your body does change. There's a lot of changes but also there's no time to sort of try and work on it initially because you're so busy and
Yeah.
tired that the last thing I wanted to do is at the end of the day is go to the gym because I was exhausted. So I think yeah, that sort of missing parts of your old life, even sometimes when you've had a really long week, you just kind of want a Saturday afternoon to yourself watching TV. And I
Mm,
used to be able to do that when I had my parents around, but now when I don't have that sort of family support, I never really get that. And yeah, I think it's okay to kind of miss your old life at times, but still
mm,
love your kids. I wouldn't change it for the world. My kids mean the
mm,
world to me, but I am sometimes envious of people who have that sort of family support to
mm.
just, yeah, take it easy.
What are some of the other things you miss about your pre-child life?
I think I didn't appreciate how much time I had on my hands at the time. You
Yeah.
think, oh my God, I'm so busy. But now I look back on when I was working full time and everything, and I used to be like, oh my God, like I wish I had more time. I had loads of time. I just didn't appreciate it. I think being able to go on holidays, I find going on holidays with kids is kind of going somewhere else abroad to look after them. It's not as enjoyable as it used to be.
Yeah.
Me and my husband used to travel a lot, so I sort of miss that side of things. But I also know that as they get older, it'll be easier, and so I am looking forward to sort of doing those family trips. But yeah, I think for me, it's mainly sort of having date nights with my husband. We could do that. We could get a babysitter, but my kids are difficult, and I would worry. When they wake up at night, they want mommy. They don't want anyone else. So I haven't been brave enough to sort of get a babysitter or even a friend over, unless it's my parents. I don't feel comfortable enough. So yeah, just gym time, date nights, just normal things that you kind of used to do
Simple
and
things.
not even think about it.
Yes, the simple things that we take for granted, and then when we have the kids, we think, "My gosh, I had it so easy. It was so lovely just to have the luxury of being able to dip out to the gym or go for dinner."
Mm.
And now these sorts of things have to be carefully planned. But then I guess
Yeah.
the other side of it is when we are at the gym or having date night, we're able to savor it so much more because we
Yes.
appreciate it, and time suddenly becomes such a significant resource and asset
Mm.
in our life that we don't squander it like we used to pre-baby, do we?
Yeah, definitely.
Tell me a compliment that you've received since becoming a mum that you've really savored.
I think it was my dad. Recently, he visited us in March and he stayed for 3 months. And as he left, he said to me that he's so proud of me and of the sort of mum that I am. And that literally made me cry at the airport. That was, when your parents say it to you, I think yeah, it means a lot, especially because they've seen me struggle and I'm very close to my family. I'm always on FaceTime to my mum, kind of ranting and venting, like, I'm exhausted and things like that. And I think for my dad to say that, it meant a lot.
Beautiful moment. That is gorgeous. I love that. What does the term finding the you in mum mean for you specifically, Paulina?
God, I think for me, I'm learning to do it more. It's kind of allowing myself to be me, the person that I was before becoming a mum, and not feeling guilty about it.
Mm,
I'm still working on it, but I feel like I am becoming better at it because I think it's so important. You don't have to be a perfect mum. I think, once again, going back to social media, I think there's a lot of social media mums or influencers which try and portray that. And I think more and more people are kind of going, well, that's not real life. And also, you got to remember that these people are at home and they have the time, they have nannies, that they have more support at times. Whereas for a person like me who I work, my husband works, with rushing from work to daycare to then quickly the kids are screaming, crying because they're hungry. I'm trying to rush to dinner, then it's bath time, then they're overtired, and before you know it, it's 9 p.m.
I know the story
So
well.
yeah, it's a struggle. We don't for people like us who work and try and juggle everything, it is a lot harder because you're always on the go. So you
Mm.
have to really plan your day strategically to sort of make it work.
Absolutely. So if you had to, just as we wrap up, give one little piece of advice, a tip that you have applied to your life that you found to be quite the game changer, what would it be to share with other mums?
To not be hard on yourself and just to take it day by day. And when it does get difficult and you're so sleep deprived that you want to cry, because I've been there, take a day to yourself. Tell your husband, tell your mom, tell whoever you can, I need a minute. And I think I struggled to admit at first I'm struggling
Mm.
because you almost felt like you were letting people down. But I think it's okay to struggle, and motherhood is great, but it's difficult. So don't be ashamed to sort of get help and admit that you are struggling.
I think that's brilliant. And it's funny, even just as you said that, I thought, we don't remember that enough, do we? That
Mm,
it's okay to put your hand up and say, this is really hard. I need some help. I think we feel that we failed if we admit that. And the more we
yeah.
can talk about the fact that it's actually common, I think all of us at some point as a mum hits that wall where it's like, I want help. I need
Yeah.
help. I'm struggling. And so many, I'd say a large percentage, just suffer in silence and get unwell in
Mhm.
one shape or form. So I think it's a brilliant tip, Paulina, just to remind people there is absolutely nothing to be embarrassed or ashamed about to say, I'm not tracking well, I need some help. And that help can
Mm.
come in all sorts of forms. It can be just
Yeah.
support or it can be physical hands-on assistance.
Yeah, I agree. And I think, like you said, people do feel like it's shameful and they feel kind of, my friends are doing it, everyone's doing it. Like, why am I struggling? And that's definitely how sort of I felt. And even when I opened up to my friends about it, they were like, oh, I've been there. So I think sometimes you just got to start the conversation because a lot of my friends have older kids, so I kind of look at them and think, your kids are so easy. But when you actually talk about it, they say to you, there were times where I struggle like you, but it
Mm,
does get better. And yeah, just talk about it. I think that's, yeah, important.
that sounds wonderful. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast, Paulina. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me. It was lovely to meet you.
Lovely to meet you too.
Thank you very much.
You take care.